Hello, hello, my lovely friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something a teeny tiny little bit different today. I want to talk about working in our journals when we're in a bad mood. So, this week passed. So, today's Friday. I'm doing the introduction here on a Friday. I was in a mood. Oh my God. And I can't even really tell you exactly what was going on with me, but it kind of was one of those things where the week started out pretty good, but by the time I got to Thursday, I was just like I was in a bad way. And I'm not even 100% sure exactly why. You know, you just sort of get in those funks sometimes and you're just like, ugh. So that was yesterday. And I was huffing and puffing and so I was frustrated with myself because I had been trying to think of something during the week about what I wanted to make a video for, what I wanted to make a mini what I wanted to make a video about for you guys this week. And I had a few things in mind, but if I'm honest, I didn't have the patience to do it. And on top of that, again, to be very frank, I didn't have the confidence for whatever reason. I was just feeling very inadequate and vulnerable and I don't know, just all the sort of icky feelings, right? But I was like, I gotta make a video because I don't want to, it's important to me that I do this at least once a week. So I'm racking my brain. I pulled out stuff and then I was like, I don't want to do this. And I just thought, you know what? Let's just do a video about the fact that what it's like to want to work in your journal when you're in a bad mood. In the sense that there's various ways, of course, to deal with being in a bad mood when it comes to journaling. And I do go into one of my favorite techniques in the video, but for some people, I mean, this is very personal, right? So you sort of had to take all of this with a grain of salt because everybody's going to be a little bit different. For some people, working in their journal when they're in a bad mood and making really pretty pages would help alleviate the stress of the bad mood. I find that if I try and make something pretty when I'm in a bad mood, I make mistakes, and then that just makes the bad mood even worse, right? So I just sort of I set up my iPad over top of the desk here, and I was doing some folding, and I was doing some stamping, and it's kind of just a video about me rambling about just this. And part of it is because I feel that there's, the junk journal, the art journal, the journaling world is so full of beauty. It's amazing, and it's incredibly inspiring. It's uplifting, it's all the good, warm, fuzzy feelings that we really want from our journals and from the journaling experience. But nobody really talks about on those really tough days when you're just pulling your hair out, and, it could be anything, whether it's somebody, a conflict with another person or something pops up and it just puts you in a direction where you just, everyday little things annoy you. I mentioned in the video, some days I just get I don't want to vacuum. I don't want to do dishes. And I know that you don't have to do those things necessarily, but you guys know what I mean. You think, well, I should do the dishes, but I don't want to do the dishes. And then it's a snowball effect. And not that doing the dishes or vacuuming or cleaning or any of the chores that we have to do is the end of the world. I mean, it's not. But some days it just feels that way. Or you're already, really super annoyed, or you got your knickers in a twist about something else, and that just makes it worse. So I'm just sort of basically talking about the idea that maybe it's not the worst idea to have a separate notebook or a separate journal where you can just purge, get things out, almost have just a stream of angry consciousness, and you just get it out into a totally different book And so you don't run the risk of putting bad memories, or, and I use bad, there's no such thing as bad feelings, but you guys know what I mean. Those uncomfortable, those annoying, those sort of darker feelings and emotions, maybe you don't want those in the pretty book that you make, that you work really hard on, that you show the photos of your, when you're out with your friends, or some vacation that you took, or shopping trip, or any of the things that mean a lot to you, and you're preserving all these beautiful, wonderful memories in a book. And maybe you don't want to preserve about the day where you had a little bit of a meltdown because you were sick of looking at dishes in the sink. Some people, and again, this is very personal, it's different for everybody, and it's different depending on how you process this kind of information. Some people find it extremely cathartic to do nothing but just write. Again, get it out. I'm upset about this. I'm writing about this person. I'm writing about this situation. I'm writing. And I have done that many, oh my God, billions of times since I was a little kid. Like, I started writing in a journal or a diary when I think I was 8 when I started. And so for me, is when I was little, because I didn't really have the words or the understanding, it felt really helpful for me to write it down and just be able to put that thought, those feelings, on a piece of paper. As I got older, I found that as my feelings became more complex and more difficult to sort of sort out, I found that images and symbolism was a great source of comfort. Because some days I just didn't want to write out. I didn't want to spend hours writing out all of my feelings. Even though I knew that would probably be very good for me, some days I just don't have the patience or the focus to just sit and write like page after page after page after page, right? And I think the other thing to make note of is that what works for you on one bad day maybe doesn't work on the other bad day. Like, maybe one day when you're really upset about something, you really do want to write it all out. Not necessarily because you want to go back and remember it, but because you just need to get it all out. Some days you might just want to glue in a picture of a really bad thunderstorm, right, or something, and then you're like, that was today. Like, that's it. Right? So this is basically a video, just me sort of expanding on this, and I hope that you will find some comfort in it. Of course, I hope you will find it helpful. Not every day is a good day, obviously. I mean, that's a given. We know that those days are coming. So it's how we decide to deal with these things, and especially if we're dealing with situations that have sort of more long-term implications, like we're dealing with a long-term situation that we're really not keen on having to deal with, it can be helpful to come up with a way that helps you process these things in a way that doesn't feel like you're forced to not ignore it, but like I said, if you don't want to put some negative feelings in your really pretty, lovely, hard worked on journal, then basically the message is don't. And maybe that seems obvious to other people, but for me, I needed to sort of give myself permission to come up with another way, another book to deal with some of this more difficult stuff, right? So, yeah, I hope, like I said, I hope you'll enjoy it, and I hope you will find some comfort there. I'm looking forward to hearing any of your comments. If you have any questions, of course, please feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, I hope that you're not having a bad day, and if you are, well, just ride it out, and tomorrow's another day, and you do the best you can, and that's all anybody can ask for. On these days where you're just like, right? You just do the best you can, and just know that, of course, it isn't always going to be like this forever, even though some days it really does feel like it. And take good care of yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. That's really key when you're having these really, on days where you just think you're just gonna try and speak kindly to yourself. So enjoy the video, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. So today's video is not going to sort of be our average kind of video, in the sense that let's talk about having bad days and journaling. So today was a poops day, and I've been trying all week to think about what it is that I want to do for a video for you guys. Now, while I'm talking and starting, I'm just going to be making some of these pockets here. These Pam at the Paper Outpost had this really great short video about how to make these pockets. And I'm going to be working on my Halloween junk journals to put on Etsy. I'm just going to do this. And hopefully that's okay. And it's not making you seasick. Anyways, so first of all, sorry, warning, I'm not focused. I'm a little bit all over the place. I'm not really going to be showing you how to do anything in particular. It's more about us hanging out for a few minutes and having a chat about journaling when you're having a bad day and just that kind of thing. So I'm just going to be kind of working on things randomly. So, you know, maybe get yourself a coffee or a tea or something, a glass of wine maybe. And just, if you would be so kind as to hang out with me for a little bit, and let's just talk about some stuff that normally junk journalers don't always talk about, because, you know, like, on one hand, let's be honest, talking about being in a bad mood is not necessarily great for channel making, right? Because a lot of times we come to YouTube to escape the realities of life and the things that go on. But here's the long and the short of it. So today, like I said, I've been trying to figure out all week what to make, what to do on a video for you guys. And I've really been wanting to spend time and hang out with you, but I've been in kind of a weird place all week, and today it finally just came to a head, and I was just like, I do not know what's going on, in the sense that I can't focus. I'm not feeling super confident. I don't feel like I'm in a place where I can, quote unquote, teach anybody how to do anything. You know when you have those weeks or those days. So, as I was sitting here feeling bad about not having a video idea for you guys, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to talk about this. Because, you know, there's so many beautiful junk journal and art journal videos out there. And they are so inspiring. And, you know, that's why, on many levels, I decided to make a junk journal sort of quote-unquote YouTube channel. Because I wanted to be a part of that beauty and that excitement and that camaraderie and all of it that goes with it. And, you know, it is a really inspiring place to be on YouTube, with all of these amazing women who create these amazing journals. And it has been, on many levels, a real lifesaver for me. And journaling and junk journaling has really gotten me through some very, very difficult times. And that's what journaling is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to be a place and a time where we get out feelings and we get out the things that are sort of, you know, either being stored up or clogging up our brain, and we write or we do art or we, you know, whatever it is we do in our journals, it's the process of not just creating something beautiful, but also working out the dark, deep, scary, ugly parts as well, right? And I hope this will make sense to you. I really do, because my main point through all of this is that sometimes our journals need to be a place not just of beauty, but a real place of refuge, a place where we can go when things are dark and things are frustrating and annoying, and we're trying to work out feelings and frustrations. And sometimes our journals need to be a place where we can go and express all of the darkness as well as the lightness, right? We need that balance. We need the yin and the yang. We need the light and the dark. We need to be able to express both. Otherwise, it's not healthy. And that's why I was telling you before about how I have a journal that's just specifically for feelings and working out the things that feel pretty toxic at the time. And so today, I can't say that I was feeling toxic per se, but I was definitely feeling like, I have to be honest, I spent a lot of the day just wandering. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't even know. I just, you know what I mean, right? You guys totally get that. And I'm absolutely loving now that I have this space and this channel where I can come on and make videos and share these things with you, because I know that if I'm feeling them, you're feeling them as well. And I think it's helpful for both of us to be able to be like, oh my God, you too? Me too! There's one of the greatest pleasures in life is when you're spending time with someone and you hear them talking about their feelings, and especially frustrations or things that they're confused about, and there's this sigh of relief, and you're like, oh my God, me too, I feel this way. And because so many times, especially on a platform like YouTube, we feel like we have to be on our best behavior, showing our best art, showing our best techniques, right? Because that's what people like, and I get that. But I just, every once in a while, I think that it's good to just have somebody sort of talk about it's just not life. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes life is scary, right? Sometimes it's confusing, and there's a lot of pressure and demands that are made on us, and all of it. So I just thought I'm going to come on here and we're going to have a little chit chat about the fact that it doesn't have to be perfect. Life doesn't have to be perfect every day, all day. And again, I'm not saying anything that's new. This is just more of like a reminder. And for those that need to hear it, I'm just putting it out there into the universe, right? And I'm also going to be using these for pen pals and Happy Mail. So then sidebar, what Pam does is she just glues in here a little bit. The last time I used this best glue ever, and I really like this glue, but I found with these dictionary pages, it got quite sticky and it didn't really dry that well. So if there's something about this glue that I'm missing, that I should have known about that I didn't, please let me know in the comments. I'm gonna use the art glitter glue that I got. So anyway, so that's what's going on with these. And then for the Halloween junk journals, I'm gonna ink the edges. I'll do some inking, and I'll put some scary bits of ephemera in there. So, okay. So, yes. Hang on, I think Sophie or Lucy wants to come inside. So, one thing I did want to share with you, something that I do when I'm having, those days where you're just like, I've shared this with other people and they have found it to be quite effective. So I'm going to share this with you as well. Two things. I went to the dollar store and I stocked up on some of these composition notebooks because they're cheap and cheerful. And I got myself the biggest, fattest Sharpie. I could find, right? And this book is empty. I haven't done anything except for, it looks like I started something in February and I didn't finish it. But anyways, what I do is I get out my Sharpie, and warning, I do have a bit of a potty mouth, which I'm not going to do here because A, it's not very nice to have a potty mouth on YouTube, and B, it's not the kind of thing that YouTube likes. They quite frown upon that. So I'm not going to say the words. However, sometimes I like to take my Sharpie and I like to write in the biggest way possible. And I might take one page to write one word. And I'll give you a hint what that word is. And it rhymes with duck. And sometimes I found it extremely cathartic to just get out this big old, huge, fat Sharpie and write in big, big letters exactly how I feel. And I might take, you know what? I've gone through half a book in having just sort of a moment of just sheer frustration, where I'm just like, sometimes I just write no, and I just write it again and again, and it's just like, no, no, whatever it is, no, I don't know. What was I mad about? Maybe sometimes it's as silly as just being frustrated about, like, no, I don't want to have to vacuum today. No, I don't want to have to do dishes today. You know what? I don't want to have to clean that bloody kitchen floor again. And so sometimes I find it so helpful to write these things out in great big, huge, fat letters. And of course, it's just, I'm just scratching it out. There's nothing pretty about it. It's just like, or sometimes I just will write, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm feeling this way. I don't get it. Or, if I'm working through a certain feeling, maybe I name that feeling and I just write it out over and over again. Shame, shame, shame. Or if I'm confused, I might just write out the word why with a great big question mark. Why? And there's something again, very satisfying when you're in a state that you just, it's about the release, right? And boy, just flipping these pages, I'm telling you, feels good. And just making a mess in this book feels good. And just, that's why I buy these in packs of, like, I might go and get 5 or 6 at a time. And usually what I do with them afterwards, when I filled them up, sometimes I find it helpful to just go back and look at what I've written and how I've written it. And a lot of the times I just throw them out. I've gotten that out, those feelings out. I've purged, I've released, I've let go. There's nothing more satisfying or more than just being able to exhale and being like, okay, I got through that mood, I got through that feeling, I got through it. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, right? And I think this is why on some level we resist some of these things, because they're dark, because they're the opposite of pretty. When somebody talks about that ugly cry, well, to me, this is sort of like the ugly cry journal, if that makes sense. This is raw. This is uncensored. This is not for anybody else. This is just for me. And in your case, it's such a great release. I highly recommend it. I know it might sound a little bit silly, and I know it might sound like a little bit, I was going to say it might sound like you're having a little bit of a temper tantrum, but who cares? Who cares if you're having a temper tantrum by yourself with your notebook and your giant Sharpie, which, by the way, I got these on Amazon and they were not expensive. So what if you're having a temper tantrum? Sometimes, your inner child just wants to yell and scream and tell the whole world to just duck off. And then you say it, you write it down 20, 30 times, and then you're like, whew, I feel better. So, you know, I hope somewhere out there that helps somebody feel better about getting words out on paper. Words that can be nasty, words that can be words you would never share with in public. And again, you know, you could rip these pages out after and shred them. You know, there's something very satisfying again about not just getting all of that rage or that confusion or that just anger out, but then shredding it as well. Like just, you know, letting it go. Let me just see if I can move this here so I don't cut off the bottom, because I do have a tendency to do that and get my head in the shot. So I'm going to try really hard not to do that. Okay, so let's play around with something here. I am already feeling better, let me tell you. Sharing with you and making this video and hanging out with you is already making me feel better. So thank you. Okay, we've got this dark room rubber stamp set, and I've got this one here that we're going to use. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to sort of do a stamp master board stuff. But I thought while I was talking to you about being in a bad mood, we would do some stamping. So let me get out my... So I've got this big stamp. I've got this... Oops. Almost smashed into my iPad here. I got this one, which I thought might be kind of fun to do some collaging over top. And then I've got these, I'm pretty sure this is Tim Holtz. These ones. I love using these ones. These are fun. So let's just see where we get. I'm not going to ramble on for too much longer, but I thought we would do this sheet and then just see where we get. That does not look like that's going to stamp very well. I'm going to get my other one. So yeah, so, you know, not every day, you know, but on those days where you just want to hide from the world and you just want to, some days you just want to be angry. You're like, can you just let me be angry? And I don't know about you guys, but I struggle with being angry and allowing myself to be angry because, you know, I'm sort of the generation where, you know, it's, ladies don't get angry. It's not nice to be angry. It's unkind to be angry or that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... Yeah, I don't know how to say it. It feels uncomfortable. Anger in particular can feel very, very uncomfortable. And a lot of us just don't really know, especially women, right? We just don't really know, am I getting my head in there? No. How to process some of that stuff. And I think I'm going to, oh, I've got this one as well. This here that I got. Let's put this over here. Oh, this is... Oh, what's happening? Okay. Oh, there's double... This is really stuck. Ooh, it's kind of melted on there. I wonder if I can just do it like that. Let's try. I won't put it on the acrylic block. You know, growing up, we were not the kind of family that used bad words. I think the worst I heard my parents say for years was damn. And so when I would go to other people's houses as a kid and their parents would swear, I was always like, ooh, right? Like I didn't really know. I was like, damn, damn. And so somewhere along the line, I too became a potty mouth, as they like to say. I swear like a sailor. I love it. I have to be honest. For me, it's a great way of expressing things, clearly. But I'm also aware of the fact that there's a time and a place. But I'll never forget the first time I said the duck word in front of my parents. And anyways, I just remember my mother giving me this look. And I was like, no. in the sense that, you know, sometimes it just, for me personally, I know a lot of people don't like to swear, but I just find it really does express how I feel. And sometimes I feel like you just need to say, what the duck? What the duck? You know, we tend to want to shy away from the feelings that make us uncomfortable, and we tend to want to shy away from the difficult feelings because it's just unpleasant. I mean, let's be honest. It's really unpleasant. Feeling like I felt today, which was confused and frustrated and annoyed, and did I mention frustrated? And you know, I was without focus. I had no purpose today. And I tried to fight it, and then I thought, well, what am I fighting? Like, maybe just go with it and see what comes out of it, right? And that's what I did. And that's why I find sometimes, you know, it's important to have a space somewhere, a journal or somewhere where you can get these things out in a manner where you can feel that actual release. You can feel it coming out of your body. You can feel your jaw unclench. You can feel that knot in your stomach start to unwind. Or you can actually feel like you can lower your shoulders. You can just let it out. Let it out. Friends, let it out. Okay, now let's see. I don't know. Oh, that kind of works. So I'm going to cut tags out of this. And I also have to say, as somebody who loves Halloween, I do find playing with some of my Halloween supplies very cathartic on a bad mood day. Because there's something very, like, I don't know, dark feelings and dark decorations. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, hey! Now then, this is looking better than I thought. Ooh, that's not so bad. Subtle, but perhaps. Okay, so now I got these little dates, so let's try this. So yeah, I've already started on Halloween postcards for my Etsy shop that I will be listing next week. I have started cutting paper for my Halloween journals. I'm hoping I've got some big ideas about journals and journaling, like what I'm going to be working on. But I need to get all this stuff done by the end of July, right? So I can start doing the thing that I hate the most, which is promoting it. Ugh, I love making. I hate marketing. Okay, so let's just... Oh, you know what? This is turning out better. I wasn't sure how... yeah, you can't really see that. And I have these other Tim Holtz stamps here, but I'm not going to use those because I don't... I'm liking how this is turning out. Let's try... Things are going to start to get pretty busy, aren't they? Oh, I have this little ghost one here. Let me try this. So, thank you for hanging out with me. Oh, hey, that's good. Thank you for being here and listening and sharing these sort of awkward conversations with me. Hang on. You know, the scary stuff is a lot easier when we talk about it openly and share. And again, one of the greatest things in the world, I think, is when somebody says something and you go, oh my God, me too. Me too. It's just so comforting. Ooh, that looks great. That looks really good. because I think intellectually we know that we're not the only ones. I mean, how many times have you been gone through something that's difficult, and then you talk to somebody and they're like, "Oh my god, I totally get that." And you're like, "Oh, I wasn't the only one." Intellectually, we know we're not the only one. But damn, some days when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the weeds, when you feel like you got to take the weapons from the walls to get through the day, you do feel like you're the only one. And that's the thing with feelings and sort of being overcome, right? Is that it's not always rational and it doesn't make sense. Okay, so I don't know if I'm kind of running the risk of overdoing. Could be worse. Could be worse. Okay, so let's see here. I've been talking now for quite a while. I'm trying to read the clock upside down. I believe it's 31 minutes. So, the moral of the story is, when you are feeling down, when you are feeling blue, when you are feeling angry, and if you don't want to share whatever that is, I think this is going to go here. I'm just making a mess of it now. No, I already have an October there. Let's see what happens there. When you're feeling down in the dumps, you're not even going to be able to see that. Find an outlet and journal in a manner where you can still get these things out and find that release, right? So for me, it's the big fat Sharpie and all the ducks and the Y's. And sometimes, like I said, I just write no over and over and over again. For some people, it might be having a collection of photos. I know that I have a book of images that I've collected over the years of people that are looking like they're having difficult feelings. And sometimes I glue that sort of like in a glue book in my feelings journal. Whatever works for you, I would hope that you would find a way to release those feelings and to release those frustrations and do them in such a way that you don't have to hide from yourself or hide from your feelings or feel that your feelings aren't valid or that you are afraid because you feel that there's a certain amount of shame attached to those feelings. Just between you and me, I find that when it comes to trying to get things out on paper and journaling about things, I am very good at intellectualizing how I'm feeling, but I'm not always great at feeling my emotions, because sometimes I find that a little bit scary. And so something that journaling has done for me since I was a little kid, like I have journals that I started when I was about 6 or 7. I had a very, very difficult relationship with my mother, and I don't know if it was Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, or if it was a different book, but I had read a book about a young girl who also had a difficult relationship. And so she wrote in a diary, and I thought this would be great. And so I started doing that when I was very young. And these feelings sometimes that we have, the journal should be one of our best go-to places to make us feel better, even on the darkest days. So once I understood the release of writing things out as a little girl, I was hooked, and it became a lifelong place that was safe and quiet, and I didn't have to explain myself to anybody other than myself. It wasn't until much, much later that I came to this kind of journaling and junk journaling, but I did finally get to a place where I realized that I could feel my feelings without just talking and intellectualizing my feelings, if that makes sense. Because especially as a child, I didn't really have the words or the cognitive understanding to really understand or write about what was going on. I just wrote about the fact that I was very sad or that I was scared or lonely or whatever it was. So, I hope that makes sense. Ooh, you know what I didn't use? You're like, woo, Lisa, focus. Yeah, you know, they're not all gems. And some days when you're having a bad day, some days it's good to just write down in a journal, you know what? Today's a bad day. They're not all gems. That's just the way it is. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, I wish I had a 31 stamp, but I don't. And I am not going to Amazon to look for one. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it there. That's been sort of a ramble. You know how much I appreciate all of you and your comments and your kind words and your support. And I couldn't do this without you. So for me, I feel very grateful that something really good came out of what was a very dark, bad mood. I didn't want to end this without giving you a glimpse of how these turned out, which, oh, hang on, which is great, by the way. So, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I will definitely be doing this again. The only thing that I realized was that this stamp here did it upside down. Which doesn't really matter. Again, no mistakes. But I did notice when I was cutting them out, I was like, oh, the numbers are upside down. But I actually think that adds to the fun creepiness of it. So this, I'm really glad that I did. And I will be doing this again. And I have not, as of yet, looked for a number 31 rubber stamp. But I might. Anyways, thanks for watching again, everybody. And I will talk to you soon.